Good morning, everyone. I do need to fix this from my previous game with the Steve Carlton payoff pitch replay. I forgot that I moved my webcam higher so I could capture more things. But now with Strat-O-Matic, I want to get a little closer so we can see the cards, but still see the score sheet and everything, and the dice tray and all that good stuff. So hopefully now that's a little bit better. Might even be able to get a little closer here, but I don't want to make everybody sick while I'm moving this stuff around either. But happy Friday to everybody. Hope your Friday is off to a good start, and hope you have nice plans for the weekend. Move this over just a touch and plop that right there. I think that'll work now. Let's get it a little bit closer here. All right, so I think that will suffice. Move it just a little. Wait a minute, I'm getting off kilter here on my boy. A little bit rough start for me this morning, isn't it? I've only had half a cup of coffee this morning. I overslept a little bit, so I am a little bit behind the time. So I am trying to readjust and get everything lined up for you. All right, I think that's going to be okay right there. I think that's going to suffice. We have the Cleveland Indians and the Seattle Mariners. Last game on the June 13th docket. Game number 414 overall. We're at the Kingdome in Seattle, which is homer friendly. Singles are just 1-5 for left and right, but home runs are 1-17. So could see a lot of homers in this game, particularly Phil Niekro on the mound for the Cleveland Indians, and on the mound for Seattle, Mark Langston. They will be giving their pitches in this game. Of course, the records of these two teams, these are the two last place teams in their respective divisions. Seattle 24-36, Cleveland 22-37. We'll get to the Strat-O-Matic computer so I can start this thing up. Look at Mark Langston's 87 season in real world. He was 19-13 with a 3.84 earned run average. On the replay, he's 6-7 with a 4.19 ERA. 97 innings pitched, 92 hits, 40 walks, and 96 strikeouts, rather. All right. And as we look at the pitcher-catcher quotients, Langston is a +1. Bradley's a +2, so he's a +3. Phil Niekro is a 0. Chris Bando's a +1, so Niekro's a +1. Niekro does have a pretty high wild pitch rating at 15. His balk rating is a 9. Langston's wild pitch is a 7. Balk is a 3. Bando does have a 9 pass ball rating, where Bradley's only a 1. All right, so Langston finishing up his warm-up tosses. And this was, again, Saturday, June 13th. So tomorrow's date, June 14th, will be a Sunday. It'll be finishing up all these series. And then we get to June 15th. We'll have a new set of opponents to face each other. All right, so Brett Butler will lead things off, and he is hitting a dead even 400 on the replay. In 155 at-bats, he's hitting 400, 4 homers, 15 driven in. He hit 295 in the real season. And before the first pitch, of course, and much needed now since I kind of overslept, and this is my actual first cup of coffee, I'm going to need the ceremonial first sip. Normally by the time I come up here, I'm on my third cup of coffee, so I'm way behind time, so hopefully I'm not too groggy. Slept well last night. I slept longer than I wanted to. All right, here's Brett Butler. Kind of threw me off a bit. 5-7, that's a strikeout. That didn't throw Langston off. He gets the strikeout. To start things off, Brett Butler out on strikes. Going to bring up Julio Franco. Shortstop. Franco hitting 302 on the replay. 4 homers, 29 driven in. He had 319 real world. 1-2, and that's a hit by pitch. So Franco's going to get plunked by Langston. Surely didn't feel too good. Franco may try to get his revenge by stealing. There's a +3 hold, so if he gets the lead, it's pretty much automatic. 2, 3, 4, or 5 will get Franco a good lead. Does not get the good lead. Doesn't mean he can't steal. Just means it wouldn't be very smart. It'd be a 13, 4 for being held, bring it down to a 9, and the plus 3 would be a 12. Be a 60% chance, but with Pat Tabler and Carter coming up, I think without the good lead, it wouldn't be a wise move to steal. So to bring up the first baseman, Pat Tabler, he's hitting 321, 4 homers, 30 driven in on the replay. Hit 307 real world. It's a 411, and that's a ground ball pitcher X right back to Langston. Computer tells me that Langston is a 2 range, and the card says E11. So 2 E11 for Langston. Why they don't put the range on here, I don't know. But 2 E11. They waste the time by putting his batting card on here when it's American League DH only league, but they don't put the. You mean tell me they couldn't throw a 2 right there? I mean, come on. Something Strat. I know it's Strat opening day. I know people were there in line and they're all excited and all that stuff, but come on. 2E11. 2E11 for. I love the game. Not so much sure about the company. 2 and a 12 is going to be a G2. That's a 5, so it's a rare play, and we know how famous or infamous the Strat-O-Matic rare plays are, right? Of course, I have, if I can find it, I haven't had to pull it out in a while. I'm going to try to find it. What do you call it? My beta version of the rare plays. And now I can't even find those. I had them somewhere. I haven't used them in a while. I'll just go ahead and use the one that's on the. We'll see how silly the one is on the Strat chart. How about that? It's a G2. We found that out with a 12 and a 2. We know it's a G2. So we go to G2 rare play. G2 rare play. Batter lines a shot that deflects off the pitcher to the fielder who makes the play for the first out. Runner goes. So, you know. So who does it go to? It doesn't say who it goes to. That's the other part with this rare play. If you wanted to use this rare play, how could you do it? Because it says batter line shot that deflects off the pitcher to the fielder. Who the heck is the fielder? Who do we know that's the fielder? We don't know who the fielder is. There's nothing that says that. So to try to clean this up, I'm going to say Tabler lines it off of Langston. Langston lines it at Langston. Langston gets a glove on it, knocks it down. His only play is to first. So Franco will take second base, and we're going to just have a 1-3 put out. So we'll try to clean that up. Strat's mess up on that, because obviously that is a snafu there on Strat. All right, here's Joe Carter. Hey there, Mr. Rail fan. Never played Strat. Oh, man, you ought to. That's almost un-American not to play Strat. If you're in the hobby, and that's kind of, that and APA are kind of like the two institutions. I mean, I've played APA. I mean, I survived, and I'm still living, but I did play APA at one time. I didn't get, deformed or anything by playing APA, mentally deformed or anything, but it was a little uneasy, but, I made it through it. So I still contend that friends don't let friends play APA, but that's, people's choices. But glad you're aboard. Glad you enjoy watching. All right. Let's see. Joe Carter is up. He's hitting 171, 9 homers, 21 driven in, hit 264 real world. But everybody likes different games. So if you love APA or some of the other games that I don't care for as much, go for it. That's what freedom of choice is all about. 6-4, and that is going to be a fly ball to left field. And that's going to end the inning. So I kind of say that tongue-in-cheek about friends don't let friends play APA. Obviously, that's just, just being silly. So Phil Niekro is on the mound for the Cleveland Indians. Niekro is 7-13 with a 6.10 ERA on the real season. On the replay, he is 2-6 with a 7.24 ERA, 68 innings pitched, 82 hits, 39 walks, and 33 strikeouts. But I know today is officially February 20th. It's officially 2026, officially the opening day at Strat-O-Matic. So I know people are already in line. They've been in line since last night to pick up their items. It was on my bucket list to do at some point, but I just don't see myself ever getting way up to New York. But stranger things have happened. When I would like to meet Hal Richmond, shake his hand, and tell him I love his product, but from Virginia to New York is not a short trip by any means. All right, here's John Moses. He's hitting 259 on the replay. 3 homers, 29 driven in. He hit 246 real world. 6-2, and that is a fly ball to center. There was a dot here, so if Niekro had been tired, this would have changed to a base hit. But since he obviously first at bat of the game, obviously not tired. So I know he's old, but he's not that old. So he will get the fly out to Brett Butler for 1 away. 1 center fielder flying to another. Brings up the 2 Bradleys. First is Phil Bradley, left fielder. Bradley hitting 219, 7 homers, 21 driven in. He hit 297 real world. Oh, what part of Virginia were you born in here? 5-5, and that is a fly to center again. Brett Butler will haul it in. 2 up, 2 down. Hello, Dan. Good morning to you. Dan, you'll be happy to know I took my Fall Classic defensive chart, and I wrote in big, bold letters, check pitcher KD, right over top of it. So that way, when I go to my defensive chart, it's in my face to check the KD rating before I do the defensive check. So got that down now. I need dummy stickers for that, you know, until I get it ingrained in my head. Arlington. All right, cool. Okay, Scott Bradley. 269. I don't know. Is Arlington? I know where Arlington is in general, but is that anywhere near Lorton where they have the Amtrak car train thingy or whatever that goes to Florida? I always wanted to ride that one time too, but probably won't. But it seemed like a neat thing to do, to take your car somewhere with you on a train. But all right, here's Scott Bradley. 269, no homers, 21 driven in. He hit 278 real world. 4-6, and that's a base on balls. So a 2-out walk to Scott Bradley. First walk issued by Niekro. Bradley, no threat to run. All right, I'm down here just south of Richmond, so between Richmond and Petersburg. I'm actually in Petersburg now, or just outside of Petersburg, so about 20 miles south of Richmond is where I'm at. But I did grow up in Richmond. So. All right, Ken Phelps, born and raised there. So Ken Phelps, DH, 236 average, 11 homers, 32 driven in. He hit 259. So from there to go to New York for Strat-O-Matic opening day would be quite the trek. Here's Phelps. 4-4, and it's ground ball third base X. We're looking at Brooke Jacoby. 4E25 for Jacoby. 4-18, he'll get to that in 11 for Jacoby. And it's the third out of the inning, so it doesn't matter if he's going to throw it to first or second. It doesn't make any difference. That's an 11, and he's an E25, and there's no 11 there. So we're just going to say Jacoby throws it to first, just to keep it simple, and that will end the inning. So after 1 complete at the Kingdom, we got no score. Cleveland Indians, Seattle Mariners. Good morning, ID. I'm retired, ID. I did my work. I put in 30-something plus years, so it's time for me to, that was with that one company, but if you're going way back, I mean, what, 40, at least 47 years maybe? I don't know. 45 years, 42 years, something like that. About 42 years, I guess. All right. Here is Carmen Castillo, designated hitter. He's hitting 207, 2 homers, 6 driven in. He hit 250 even for the season. 212, and that's a Lomax plus injury, so it's a chance that Carmen Castillo could be injured, and they'll need a new DH. And I do play as-play lineups, but I do allow in-game injuries. So the way I play it is anything 1 to 6, he can stay in the game, because I've changed this to be remains in the game, not miss the remainder of the game. I kind of edit that for my own purposes here. So 1 to 6, he can stay in the game. 7 or higher, he's got to come out of the game. And he's got to come out. So Carmen Castillo will have to leave, and the Cleveland Indians will have to go to a new designated hitter, and they will go to the venerable Andre Thornton. So Thornton will take over as the DH. We're using Thornton as DH because he has no position to play, and I want to keep the other players, Mel Hall, Dave Clark, Doug Frobel, and Rick Dempsey, the other guys on the bench. First of all, the only two that are right-handed to face a lefty Langston are the backup catcher Dempsey and Thornton, and you don't want to use your backup catcher. And the other guys are left-handed, and they can play a position. Thornton's strictly a DH, so just made all the sense in the world to do that, although Thornton is not very good. Doesn't matter. That's what I do believe that's what Cleveland would have done in real-world situations. All right. I actually don't play games all day, Jester. I mean, I play a game here in the morning, and I may tinker with something during the afternoon, but I got other things I do throughout the day around the house. Things need to get done. Tabby's got to be taken care of. I got to, clean up around the house with the wife working. I got to make sure I cook the dinner and do the dishes and laundry and anything that might need to be done around the house needs to get done. I take care of it. I'm like Michael Keaton, Mr. Mom. All right, Brooke Jacoby. Jacoby hitting 343, 11 homers, 36 driven in. He hit 300. 4-7. Ground ball second base X. That's Harold Reynolds. He's a 2E21. 220 is good. E21 and a 6. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Nope, 4, 13, and 17 are errors. So Harold Reynolds, up to speed on his Baseball Tonight TV shows, was able to learn from that and make the play. 2 down. And, of course, it's not a glamour matchup by any means. Cleveland and Seattle, both last-place teams, but using ID Jester's thought process and his philosophy, I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, but he claims it is that you guys aren't watching for this particular game. You're watching because you enjoy, for whatever reason, the way I present the games. So you're watching me instead of the game. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, I appreciate it. Here's Tony Bernazard, 240 average, 7 homers, 31 driven in. He hit 250 real world. 211, and that's going to be a ballpark single check, 1 to 5. That's a 7, so that's going to be an out. He will line it to shortstop as he's a right-handed hitter, and that will end the inning. And I've already determined that the NBC game of the week will be 1989 Fall Classic. No sense buying another season of Fall Classic when I already got one in hand I haven't hardly used. So just makes sense to do that. So it will be 1980. I've already got the schedule all lined out, at least up through the All-Star break of the games I want to, because I want to show every team at least once. So I've got that all lined. Try to pick games that were played on Saturday afternoons. Try to make it realistic. So we'll see how that plays out. All right. Dan, I think we're all baseball junkies. Yoko, did something happen to the stream? Is it still streaming? Is there something? No, World's Worst says it's fine. Okay, I'm not sure. Now, I use Xfinity or whatever, so they're a little wonky sometimes. I get the circles in the sand at the most inopportune times. So thank goodness it's not doing anything right now. Knock on wood. All right, so Jim Presley, third baseman, 222 average, 13 homers, 42 driven in on the replay, 247 real world. 6'5", and that's a fly to center. Boy, they've hit 3 fly balls out to Mr. Brett Butler. He's kept him busy. One away. And here is Alvin Davis. Davis hitting 295, 13 homers, 38 driven in. He hit I believe he had 295 real world. Yeah, he did. He's right on the spot. Spot on with his average of 295 apiece. Let's see, but he's at 220 at bats right now. He had 580 at bats real world, so a little bit past 1/3 of the way through. 2-6 for Davis. The ground ball to second. Bernazard will make the play. One away. Also trying something different here. Usually, this is the first game I think I've tried this where I don't have the old Form B as a padding for my score sheet. I've got it flat on the table because I got tired of that thing having to keep pressing it down and everything. So I'm hoping that this works better. And I got to kind of use the dice tray to kind of keep it in place as best I can. So here's Mike Kingery. Kingery hitting 245, 5 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 280 real world. That's a 5-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to second base. Bernazard once again. Again, there's a dot there, but we're only in the second inning, so he is not tired. So 2 innings in the books. We got no score. I thought we'd have runs galore here. Of course, there's still 7 innings to go at least, pending extra innings. I agree, Dan. When I was working, I hate to throw back to that realm there, but particularly since the last couple of years, I was in a truck delivering a lot of things, and so I was on the road quite a bit. And of course, I couldn't watch it, but I could listen to anybody that had a game on. I would listen to it because it's just something there. So I do know where you're coming from, which is part of the reason why I decided to do this. I know Mr. Guterman. I used to listen to him all the time. I hope he's doing well. I haven't heard from him in a very long time. I know he had been having some situations, and because he was doing this every day. So I thought I'd pick up the baton and keep it going. So here's Corey Snyder. He will start the top of the third. Snyder hitting 235, 9 homers, 26 driven in. He had 236 real world. 4-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. Again, we're going to see if Harold Reynolds was watching baseball tonight or not. 2E21. 2-15, he'll get to that. E21 and an 11 at second base. His only errors are 4, 13, and 17, so he will make the play. And there's one away. ID, if I can figure out how to do it. If I can figure out how to do it, ID, I might use your little Strat-O-Matic idea where you condense the X charts into 1 or 2, maybe 1, possibly 2 pieces of paper where you just take the basic information, because you got a whole lot of area here that just is wasted. But I think you just like scanned, or I'm not sure how you did it. If you got this on PDF or something, or I guess I'm not sure how it was done, but that would be a nice little feature there. Oh, I remember Earl when he was doing his mail truck stuff. Absolutely. Oh, ID, if you could send me the files, that would be awesome. And that would help me. So when I'm doing my presentation here, I'm not trying to fit this long board onto the stream area and it's hitting into my coffee cup and everything else. So yeah, if you could do that, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic. All right, here's Chris Bando hitting 208, 1 homer, 13 driven in. He at 218 real world. Oh yeah, print on cardstock, absolutely. I don't care what they say about your ID. You are the man. Here's Chris Bando, 6'4", right. He switch hitter batting right-handed, so that's going to fly to left, 2 down. And speaking of retired, Earl long since has been retired down there in Oklahoma. I hope he's doing well. He decided to give up the YouTube thing, I think, but I guess he's happy doing other things. I'm sure he's still a baseball fan. So, all right, here's Brett Butler. Butler, his first time up, went down on strikes. 110, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field. So both pitchers, to borrow a term from Fall Classic, are on their A game. So go to the bottom of the third. Domingo Ramos, shortstop. He's in there because of the injury to Ray Quinones. So Domingo Ramos is your starting shortstop. Not very good. He's a 4.36. You don't want your shortstops being 4.36. He's hitting, but he's a decent hitter. He's hitting 314, a homer 7 driven inning at 311 real world. 1-5, and that's going to be a home run 1-3. That's a 9. He'll get a double, and that is the first hit for the Seattle Mariners. It's a leadoff double by Domingo Ramos. Going to bring up Harold Reynolds, second baseman. Reynolds hitting 287 on the replay. No homers, 13 driven inning at 275 in the actual season. That's a 2. Balk or pass ball. Looking at a balk rating on Niekro, which is a 9. And it will be a balk. So Niekro will balk Ramos to third base. So he's at third base with nobody out. And here's Harold Reynolds. Infield's back with nobody out. If they get 1 out and he's still at third, they'll bring the infield in with 1 out. But with no outs, I don't like to do that because that's going to lead to potentially a much bigger inning. You can handle the 1 run. You don't want 2 or 3 runs coming across the plate. 6-6, and against Niekro, left-hander, 6-6 is a ground ball shortstop. X, we're looking at Franco, 2E26. 2E26, 2 and a 5. That'll be interesting. 2 and a 5 is a G3 pound, so had the infield been in, that would have been a base hit. But by doing this, we keep the ball in play, and we get the out most likely. That's a 9, and he is an E26. There is no 9. So Franco will make the play to first. The run's going to score, but had the infield been in, that would have been a single. And you'd have 1 run in and 1 guy on base and nobody out. So kind of just, take your medicine, give up your run. But now start with a clean slate with bases clear. Yeah, Dan, I'm a little concerned about Jeff. I hope he's doing okay. I really do, because he's the one that got me into doing this kind of thing, playing this full season replay like this when he was doing that. And he kind of brought me back into, I'm not that I was out of love with Strat-O-Matic, but he kind of got me really into Strat-O-Matic once again. 3-8, and that's a fly to center field, 2 down. Here's Phil Bradley. He and Spokane Steve both did that for me, so I'm appreciative to both of them. Here's Phil Bradley. 6-6, and that's going to be a strikeout for Niekro. Again, there's a dot, but nobody, obviously not tired yet. Strikeout is good. The inning's over, and Cleveland, by playing the infield back, was able to limit the damage to 1 run, and it's just a 1-0 ball game. Here is Mark Langston back out. He'll face Franco, Tabler, and Carter, heart of the order for the Tribe. That's a 110 for Franco, and that's a base hit. First hit of the game for the Cleveland Indians. Kind of payback for Franco for getting hit by the pitch, I guess. All right, here is Julio Franco. Going to change. He didn't get a jump the first time. He's going to try it this time. 2, 3, 4, or 5. Still can't get the jump, so he'll hold. And here's Pat Tabler, first baseman. 1-7, and that is a ground ball shortstop A. That is a Giovanni's Tailor Shop, tailor-made double play. Can't make it any more basic than that one. 6-4-3, 1-7 against the lefty is a ground ball short. The plus doesn't matter because the infield wasn't in. So there you go. Giovanni's Tailor Shop, Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. If you're in that area, be sure to check them out. Tell them Demo sent you. They might give you a discount. They are the unofficial sponsor of this channel. They unofficially sponsor the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. Here's Joe Carter, 2-9, and he's going to hit a double 1-7, but that's a 15, so it'll be caught up by Moses in center field to take care of business. And the Tribe go, after that double play, they go rather meekly. We go to the bottom of the fourth, still 1-0. Espo's another one, Dan, that I used to, I mean, he encouraged me to take the jump from advanced to super advanced. I would have never done it without Espo. Really enjoyed Espo. Shame he's not back on doing stuff. All right, so Scott Bradley. Of course, Steve Tower was also probably the very first guy that I saw doing this, that even encouraged me to even do something like this, was probably Steve Tower. Even though it was History Maker Baseball, when I first saw History Maker Baseball, I thought it was a joke. Of course, I really do enjoy that game, but when I first saw it, I was like, what the hell is this? It's like something a 4-year-old would play, but I was wrong, obviously. All right, here's Scott Bradley. 6-4, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-5, that's a 17, so that's going to fail. We'll keep the ground ball back to the pitcher since it doesn't affect base running. 1 away, and that's going to bring up Ken Phelps. Phelps, 4-7. Fly ball to left field. That'll be hauled in out there by Joe Carter. 2 down. So not much offensively going on. I figured after yesterday's 2-1 game that this the pitching duel in Kansas City, I thought this would be a more of an offensive explosion here at the Kingdom, but Niekro's holding his own. 1-7, and he strikes out Presley with the knuckleball. And that will end the inning. 1-2-3 inning for Phil Niekro. We go to the 5th. It's still 1-0 Seattle. And the new designated hitter, Andre Thornton, will get his first at bat. He's not very good. He had a 118 average in 85 at bats. Obviously, he was at the end of his career. Was once a feared hitter back in the late 70s, early 80s. Not now. Thornton on the replay is hitting 2-0. I've still got Castillo in there. I got to replace him on the computer with Mr. Thornton. Thornton on the replay hitting 172 in 64 at bats, so he's doing better. No homers and a run driven in. 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. That's trouble for Ramos. He's a 4.36, so Thornton might get another hit off of the failed range play. 4-9 is a very good possibility. 4 and a 9. Nope, nobody's on base, so it's a G3 pound, but he's going to get to it. That's an 8, and Ramos is an E36, and there is no 8 there, so unfortunately for Mr. Thornton, he will be retired, as Ramos was able to get to that and make the play. 1 down. Flip it over to Brooke Jacoby. 1-5, and that's going to be a home run. 1-9. That's a 10, so he'll take a double. Double for Brooke Jacoby. That's his 15th double of the replay. He had 26 of them real world. And that brings us to Tony Bernazard, second baseman. 4-6, and a switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a strikeout. Langston, normally a strikeout pitcher. That's only his second strikeout of the game. So 2 down. It's now a clutch situation, or as Jesper Guterman would have said, clutch situation. And it is Corey Snyder against lefties in the clutch. He loses a hit on 3-12. Everything else, he is neutral. 2-4 is a ballpark single check, and that's a 5, and that's a 5. So base hit, but it's only 1 star. So Jacoby can only make third base. So runners are on the corners with 2 outs for Chris Bando, the catcher. He's in a similar clutch situation, and against lefties, he loses 2 hits, 210 and 310. He will lose hits. Snyder not being held at first. 6-10. Switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a ballpark single check. Once again, that's a 5, but that's a 15, so he's going to fly it to center field. Oops, wrong spot. Got that. I do that sometimes. I put it in the wrong spot, and I don't know why I do that, but thank goodness for correction tape. So that's going to do it. Cleveland's going to leave 2 on base. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. It's still 1-0 favor of Seattle. Niekro coming back out, and he'll face Davis, Kingery, and Ramos. 2-8 for Alvin Davis. That's a double 1-7. That's a 20, so that'll be a single. Base hit on Alvin Davis. Or for Alvin Davis, I should say. Thank you, ID. I appreciate that. I will print those out today. If you send them to me now or this morning or whenever, I'll print them off this weekend and have them ready to go for Monday. That way, when I start the Monday rounds of Strat-O-Matic, it'll be all ready to go. All right, so Davis is aboard. He's no threat to run whatsoever. And Mike Kingery is your batter. 3-9 for Kingery, and that is a ground ball to first base B. So Tabler will get it, throw it to Franco at short for the force, but the return throw not nearly in time to get the quick running Kingery. So it's going to be a 3-6 fielder's choice. And yes, don't hate on me because I still use AOL as an email. I know it's 1990-ish to do that, but whatever. All right, so Niekro is a +1 hold, so Kingery, chance to get a lead. 3 through 7, he gets the lead, but a 9 through 12, he gets picked off or caught stealing. That's a 3, gets the lead. It's a 15, being held as a 13, but the +1 there is a 14. So 1 to 14, and Kingery will steal second base. And he does. Plus, it's a possible throwing error on Bando. So it's a stolen base for Kingery. Bando's T rating is a 6. And it is a 6, so he throws it away into center field, E2 on Bando. So Kingery, by stealing the base, puts some pressure on. And some people wouldn't steal when you can get picked off like that, 9 through 12. That would shy some people away, but not this channel. So runner at third now with 1 out. It's going to force the infield for the Tribe to come in with the runner at third and 1 out, and already down 1-0. So Ramos is your batter. The infield is now in. Niekro needs a strikeout right about now. 3-6, won't get it. It's a fly ball center field B question mark, so it's a chance for Kingery to come in on a sacrifice flyer. Actually, a pretty good chance. Fly ball center field B question mark on the 3-6. So you take the run rating, add 2 to it to make it a 17. Subtract the arm, which is a 0. So it's still a 17. So 1 to 17, he scores. 18 to 20, he is out. 17, he talk about barely getting in there, but he did. Sacrifice fly. Let me make sure I got that right. I haven't done this in a while. Let me make sure we add the 2 because I don't want to get that wrong. Because there's a going from second to third on that, and there's going to home on that. And I want to make sure, because I haven't done it in a while, so I don't want to be premature. Go back and audit this to make sure it's right. Since I was right on the number there, that's going to make a difference one way or the other. So let me make sure on this. Go back to our rule book. When in doubt, go back to the textbook, as they say. Haven't had to do this one in a long, long time. Let's see here. Fly ball B question mark. All right, lead runner. Hold on here. Where'd it go? Just had it. Where did it go? You add 2 when it's a fly ball B to right field, but do you add the 2? 1 to 15. That's a trail runner. And I should know this off the top of my head, but just want to make sure I get it right. Where did it go? Fly ball right. That's talking about cutoff. I don't want cutoff. I just want the fly ball B question mark. Hold on. I know it's in here somewhere. Because I'm thinking now you don't do the +2. Why is it not showing here? Well, it says here, I'm looking at it, it says in the advanced section, it says you add the 2. So I'm going to assume you do that for the super advanced as well. Don't want to hold up the stream here, but I do believe it's going to be a good sacrifice fly. So it will be a good sacrifice fly for Domingo Ramos. 2-0 Mariners. So sacrifice fly. Oops, get back on here. 2-0, and here is Mr. Reynolds. 1-4, and that's a 1 to 3. Well, he would have scored anyway, obviously now, or he would have been out trying. I guess would have been the thing there. So, but 1-4 is a triple 1 to 3. That's a 6, so it'll be a double for Harold Reynolds. 2-out double for Reynolds. He's in scoring position for John Moses, and now Niekro has to try to get out of this with just the 1 run, keep his team in the game. 6-11, switch hitter batting left-handed. 6-11 is a ballpark home run chance. 1 to 17, that passes, but he has weak power. But it won't be a home run. It'll be a single 2 stars, and that will still be enough to score Harold Reynolds. So Reynolds comes across the plate on the RBI single from John Moses. Not having the power rating, cost him the home run, but it gets the single. And he will be held at first, but he won't go anywhere. 3-0 Mariners now with Phil Bradley. That's a 4-7, and that is a ground ball second base X, and second baseman is Bernazard, a 4E22, but he was holding Moses, so he's now a 5E22. 5 and a 14. We'll see if that's going to cost him or not. 5 and a 14. No, he'll still get the G3, so he'll still get to it. That's an 8, and he's an E22. No 8 there. So good play for Bernazard. But Seattle picks up 2 more runs. And we go to the top of the 6th. Score 3-0 Seattle. Mark Langston. Langston. All right, so here's Butler. Thank you for the explanation there, Mr. ID, since you found that pretty quickly, it seems. All right, here is Brett Butler. 110, and that's going to be a fly to right. One away. Here's Julio Franco. 2-3, and that's going to be another fly ball to right field. Boy, Langston is just on a roll. And that brings up Pat Tabler. If he was supposed to be out the plate, we'll just say the umpire missed the call. 3-4, which happens in real world. Line out to third, and that's going to end the inning. So 1-2-3 for Langston. Boy, he just Cleveland can't get anything off Langston. He's on his A game today for sure. Oh, you got you working with AI. I don't know anything about AI stuff. So, although one thing I will say about AI, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this or not, but when I'm watching other people's videos and an advertisement runs right before their video, it seems like every single time there's this guy that I think he's from Europe or something on it talking about AI and Finn or something like that. We all know that AI is, and everybody knows that, and Finn is the number one. Just the same ad keeps coming up over and over and over. Terrible. Guy gets annoying. Maybe he's AI. I don't know. I'm assuming he's a real person, though. All right, here's Scott Bradley. Enough of that. 1-6. That's a ground ball to third, and Jacoby will handle it. One away. I have no idea what I'm going to play over the weekend as far as streaming or anything like that. I might take the weekend off. I might do another fall classic game. I haven't decided yet. Here's Ken Phelps, DH. 6-4, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-7. That's going to be out of range, so we're going to keep the ground ball back to Langston. 2 down, and that brings up the hound dog, Jim Presley. All right, 3-8, and that's going to be a 1-4 single, and that's a 5, so he's going to line it to short. And that will end the inning. So Niekro, that was his fatigue inning, but he went 1-2-3, so he can continue with full endurance into the 7th. Langston, his fatigue inning is not until the 8th. And here is Joe Carter to lead things off. Talk about somebody struggling. A 170 average on the replay when he hit 264 real world. 2-8 for Carter. This time he gets a hit. It's going to be a base hit, single. Leadoff single for Joe Carter. Trying to get something started for the Tribe. Down 3-0. Well, you know what? They're going to try to get it. They're going to try to take advantage of that +3. So to get a lead, 2 through 5 gets in the lead. Doesn't get the lead, it's a moot point. He was going to try to steal, though. Couldn't quite do it. Here's Andre Thornton. DH is trying to avoid a double play by stealing, and Thornton's a good double play candidate. 6-7, but he's going to walk against Langston. So now Langston all of a sudden running into issues, and that is the first walk issued by Langston. He hit a batter, but that's the first walk he's issued. First and second, nobody out. Now all of a sudden the tying runs at the plate in Brooke Jacoby. And Jacoby has the power to tie this game. Nothing on the havoc. 4-7, and that's going to be a ground ball second base X. That's Harold Reynolds. See if he is up to speed on his Baseball Tonight videos. 11, 2 and 11, probably going to be a fielder's choice. 2 and 11 is a G1. He was not responsible for holding anybody on, so he might turn this double play as a G1 on the 2 and 11. That is a 12, and he is an E21. I don't think there's an error there. Nope, 13 is the error, not 12. So it will be a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. 4, 6, 3. Second double play turn by the Mariners. And Carter will take third base, but now they're 2 away. So a big, big double play there turn by Harold Reynolds and Ramos. 4, 6, 3. Talk about squashing a rally in a hurry. So 2 outs and Carter's at third now for Tony Bernazard. It is technically a clutch situation, so Bernazard will lose 2 hits on 2-9 and 2-10. That's a 2. So that's going to be a balk or pass ball opportunity. That is going to be a pass ball opportunity, but Bradley's pass ball is only a 1. So not likely. It's not. Here's Bernazard. 2-9, and there we go. He's going to lose the hit. That's the anti-clutch single. There's an Omega symbol right there. Clear as day. At least I hope it shows one video clear as day. There is an Omega sign right there. See something here. There's an Omega sign on that 2. If I can get the glare off of there. That 2-9, that Omega sign right there where my pen is pointing, that Omega sign takes the hit away. So it'll be a pop-up to the shortstop rather than a base hit. And we go to the 7th inning stretch. Score still 3-0. Niekro going to come back out. He'll be facing Davis, Kingery, and Ramos for the Mariners. So a big-time double play turned earlier to get them out of the jam, and then the anti-clutch at bat from Bernazard helped him out as well. 2-7, and that's a fly to center field. Brett Butler makes yet another put out. 1 down for Kingery. He started all the mess last inning by stealing the base and causing the errant throw. 4-11. Ballpark single check. It's only a 1-5. That's a 20, so he's going to line it to second base. 2 down. And that'll take us to Ramos at shortstop. He's doubled, scored a run, and drove in a run with a sac fly. That is a 5-9, and that's going to be a fly to left, and that'll take care of business. So Niekro can pitch into the 8th now, no problems, as he has gone 6 up, 6 down since reaching his fatigue number. We're in the 8th. That's Langston's fatigue number. We'll keep an eye on him. It's Snyder, Bando, and there's really nobody on the bench that's right-handed that can hit, so you might as well keep Bando in the game. Langston 110 to Snyder is a fly to left field, 1 away. That'll bring up Chris Bando. He's 0 for 2. 5-5, switch hitter batting right-handed, struck him out. Not that many strikeouts for Langston, only his 3rd. He usually strikes out more than that, but he's definitely been in charge of this game, no question about it. Didn't need the strikeouts to do that. Some timely defense and just keeping the Tribe off balance. 4-7, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. So, again, the questionable Ramos, 4E36. 4-2, that's going to get through for a base hit. No question about it. 9, E36. There's no error there, but it is going to be a base hit for Brett Butler. He will reach a 2-out single. He's going to be looking to run. 2 through 8 gets him the lead, or 12, either one. 2 through 8 or a 12. He gets the lead. He's going to go 15 being held as a 13, but the +3 there is a 16. 1 to 16, he's in there. And he is. Stolen base. You're not going to see that other channel stealing bases down 3-0, but you will see it here because it's an important stolen base. He gets him into scoring position. Now a single, 2 stars will score the run, and you can get 1 run closer. Here's Julio Franco. .410. That's an in-home run chance, 1 to 9. That's an 18. It will be a double. That will score Butler. He would have probably scored from first on the double, but it wasn't guaranteed, where here it is guaranteed. Julio Franco comes through with an RBI double. It's now a 3-1 ball game, and now the bullpen for Seattle starting to loosen. We see eastbound and down Jerry Reed loosening the bullpen for the Seattle Mariners as Langston tries to get out of this. A clutch situation for Tabler. And in the clutch, he is neutral all the way around. But he is the tying run. 6-7, and that's a walk. So Langston now, I believe, has just hit his fatigue with that walk. He did. So Langston is now fatigued. And now you got the wonderful Joe Carter at the plate. What do you do with that? They're going to let Langston go one more batter. They're going to try one more batter. If he doesn't get Carter, he's coming out of the game. Langston trying to get through this 8th inning. Facing Joe Carter in the clutch. Carter loses hits 1-9, 1-10. 6-11 for Langston is a ballpark single check. 1-5. That's a 2. It's going to load the bases, and that's going to be it for Langston. We gave him every opportunity, but now just couldn't get it done. Just could not get it done. Now is where, when you play solitaire, now is where it gets a little iffy, because if you bring in the right-hander, they're going to pinch hit with a good left-hander. So I don't know by baseball rules. I think by baseball rules, they should announce the pinch hitter before the pitching change, but I don't know. A little cat and mouse there. So it looks like Seattle actually is going to go to a lefty out of the bullpen, not Jerry Reed. Seattle will actually go to Bill Wilkinson, a lefty, because they don't want those good lefties coming off the bench to get them. So Bill Wilkinson actually will come in for Seattle to face Andre Thornton with the bases loaded and 2 outs. So Bill Wilkinson. So it will not be Jerry Reed. It'll be Wilkinson. Langston's going to go 7 2/3. He's going to give up 6 hits and a run, but we can't. He's responsible for all 3 runners there, so you definitely can't close the book on that. Only walked 1, struck out 3. So Wilkinson, let's bring him in on the computer. So, because if you bring in Jerry Reed, they're going right to those good left-handed pinch hitters like Mel Hall. So they are going to go with Wilkinson to try to counter that strategy. Plus, Wilkinson's a good pitcher. I mean, Wilkinson, nothing wrong with Wilkinson at all. 3-4, 3.66 ERA real world with 10 saves. So on the replay, 3-1 with an ERA of an even 4 and 2 saves. So he could actually, if he gets through this inning, he could stay in the game and try to get the save as well. So he's going to be facing Andre Thornton with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And again, Tribe bench, you don't just have a whole lot there. You got Rick Dempsey from the right-hand side, a 177 hitter, so and the backup catcher. So I don't think you're going that way. And then you got Doug Frobel, who hit 3% of his at-bats against lefties, and he's a 100 hitter. You got Dave Clark, who had 7% of his at-bats against lefties, and obviously no hits on his left-handed side there. And then you got Mel Hall. He's the only possibility is Mel Hall. You could come with Mel Hall as a lefty, and I think they're going to do that because they just don't like Andre Thornton. So they're going to gamble, I guess, and bring in Mel Hall to DH, pinch hit and DH. So now we have Mel Hall. He's going to come in with the bases loaded. Even though it's a lefty-lefty matchup, they like his odds better than they do Thornton's. So Mel Hall, a little bit unconventional because of now. That's because I have I've got knowledge of the season already that's happened. During the regular season, I don't think they would do this, but we're going to say he's playing a hunch. So they will bring in, first of all, got to have Carter single. Now they're going to bring in Mel Hall to pinch hit for Andre Thornton. He'll stay in the game as the DH. So Hall on the replay hitting 283, 7 homers, 22 driven in. He hit 280 real world. And he's in there to face Wilkinson. Bases loaded, 2 outs, a 3-1 ball game, but one big base hit here, and Cleveland could either tie the game or take the lead. Wilkinson to Hall, lefty. We're all in the blue here. 4-12, and that's a fly ball to right, and that will end the inning. And same thing it would have been a fly to center had we left Thornton in there. So obviously in that situation for Cleveland, they had a no-win situation based on that roll. Wilkinson does the job, and Langston, we can close the book on Langston now. We go to the ninth, or bottom of the eighth, rather. Niekro still has endurance, because once he has endurance, he's retired 6 in a row since then. He'll be facing Harold Reynolds, and Wilkinson will stay in the game to try to close it in the ninth. So Harold Reynolds is up. He is 1 for 2, a double and a run scored. I'm sorry, yeah, double and a run scored. RBI as well. 211 for Reynolds. That's a ballpark single check. It's only a 1-5, but that's a 4. So Reynolds gets the base hit. Leadoff single for Reynolds, and he'll look to run. 2 through 6 or a 9 will get him the lead. That's a 2. He's going to go. He's an 18, being held as a 16, plus 1 from Niekro is a 17. 1-17. And he's in there. Stolen base for Harold Reynolds. So he's in scoring position with nobody out. And now the Cleveland bullpen starting to stir. As you have left-hander Ed Vanderberg, he would probably come in to face Scott Bradley, the lefty there, if it gets to that. Right now, Moses, a switch hitter, is up. 3-6 for Moses is a ground ball to short, and that will freeze Reynolds at second base. 1 down for Phil Bradley. Probably going to be the last batter that Niekro is going to face. 6-8 for Niekro, and that's a walk, and that's going to do it for Niekro. He will walk Bradley, and that will be it. And coming on to face 2 lefties coming up, Bradley and Phelps, will be the left-hander Ed Vanderberg for the Cleveland Indians. Mr. Ed Vanderberg will be coming on. And we'll get the numbers on Vanderberg as Niekro gets a nice golf clap from the Seattle fans. And Mr. Ed Vanderberg is in the ball game. Left-hander. Trying to get these last outs. He's a -4. That makes him a -3 on his hold. All right, so Vanderberg, real season, 1-0 with a 5.10 ERA and no saves. In the replay, he is 3-1 with an 8.28 ERA and 2 saves. So he's going to be facing Scott Bradley. First and second, 1 out. Lefty-lefty matchup. That's a 1, so got to go to the computer and get Vanderberg's wild pitch rating because it's not on the card. His wild pitch rating is a 14. Ooh, pretty high. And it's a 14 right on the number, so it will be a wild pitch. That will force the infield to come in. Also takes away the double play, so that was huge. Vanderberg right away throwing a wild pitch. Infield now in for the Tribe. Trying to choke this run off. Forgot to write the 1 there for Cleveland. It is 3-1 game, bottom of the 8th. 6-6, and that's a line out right to first base where Pat Tabler makes the snag. 2 down. And that'll bring up Ken Phelps. Clutch situation for Phelps. He's got power against lefties. And he gains extra hits. 310, 312. He gets clutch hits versus lefties. Look at his column 2 there for home runs versus lefties. So we're not pinch hitting for him. Vandenberg to Phelps. 3-8, and that's a 1 for a double, but anything else he flies to right, and that will end the inning. So Vandenberg did his job. He certainly did his job. He goes 2/3 of an inning, doesn't give up anything. 7 1/3 for Niekro. We'll get his full numbers before we go to the 9th. 4 runs and 5 hits. And I believe all the runs, because that run, even though the error on the throw, it still was an earned run, as it turned out. Let's see, let's see how many walks did Niekro have. I think he had 2 walks. Niekro walked 2, and he struck out 3. Anyway, why is it showing 4? He only had 3 earned runs. I don't know why it's showing 4 there. It doesn't make any sense. It's only a 3-1 game. So 3-1, we go to the top of the 9th. Top of the 9th, and Wilkinson back out. Will be facing Jacoby, Bernazard, and Snyder. Jacoby, Bernazard, and Snyder are your scheduled hitters. Top of the 9th, 3-1 Seattle. Wilkinson trying to save it for Mark Langston. 4-6 against a righty, struck him out. Wilkinson puts the K on Jacoby. 1 away for Tony Bernazard. 0 for 3. 6-5, switch hitter being right-handed. He's not 0 for 3 anymore. 6-5, a 1-18 is a double. So it will be a double for Tony Bernazard. Now the tying run, Corey Snyder, will come to the plate. He's certainly got the power to tie the game with 1 swing of the bat. No question about that. Wilkinson has to be careful. Corey Snyder is 1 for 3. 5-4, and that's a 1-4. I'm sorry, I'm looking over. 5-4 is a strikeout. Boy, 6-4 would have been dangerous, but 5-4 is a strikeout. Huge strikeout there for Wilkinson. And that's going to leave it to Chris Bando. And again, Cleveland really has nobody on the bench that they can pinch hit with. They just don't have it. At least not against a left-hander. If it was a right-hander, Dave Clark might give him an option, but they're going to stick with the switch-hitting Bando. 2-7 for Bando, struck him out, and there's your ball game. Boy, Bill Wilkinson did the job in relief. And another pitching duel, 2 of them in a row. Kansas City, California game, and now this game. 3-1. Langston gets the win. He improves to 7-7. He'll even his record. 3 strikeouts there for Wilkinson. He gave a double, but that was it. 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error for Cleveland. 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for the Mariners. So we'll go to the box score here and wrap this up. Get you ready for next week's games. The June 14th games, I should say. So let's go to the box score and total this puppy up. All right. Wilkinson gets his 3rd save. Niekro drops to a 2-7 mark. Not very good, obviously. Langston proves to 7-7, evens his record, drops his ERA below 4 to a 3.97 ERA. Seattle improves to 25-36. Cleveland drops to 22-38. Cleveland did leave 8 runners on base. That was kind of their bugaboo. Seattle only left 3. So even with 2 double plays, he left 8 runners on base, particularly bases loaded in the 8th inning. That's the one that got him, I think. Was Mike, you should not be blocked. I don't know where that came from, but I don't even know how to block somebody if I wanted to. So not that I want to, but I don't know how to do it either way. So anyway, let's go to the next week's ball games and see who the first game on the 14th is going to be. Try to go east to west, obviously. So we're gonna. Actually, we actually do have a couple. No, they're the same. They're the same ones here. So we're going to be in Baltimore on Monday morning. Toronto and Baltimore. Not a stellar pitching matchup. Jeff Musselman for the Blue Jays, Dave Schmidt for the Orioles. So two guys that kind of fluctuate between the bullpen and the starting rotation. So Monday we'll be there. Tuesday we'll be at Yankee Stadium for Teddy Higuera against Ron Guidry. Wednesday we'll be in Detroit for Bruce Hurst against Jack Morris, Boston and the Tigers. Thursday we'll be in Kansas City. It'll be Don Sutton and the Angels against Danny Jackson and the Royals. And then Friday we will be in Chicago, and it will be Joe Niekro, Phil's brother from Minnesota, against Jose De Leon. And then I might try to do a sixth game in there. Eric Plunk for the A's against the Charlie Huff and the Rangers. I might try to sneak a sixth game in there somewhere or another, or somehow or another. Yeah, YouTube can do a funny thing there. It wouldn't surprise me. Anything that happens on YouTube would not surprise me whatsoever. But anyway, the final score here, 3-1 in favor of the Seattle Mariners. A little bit cat-a-corner here. Let's see if I can fix that up here. 3-1 your final. Langston the winner, Niekro the loser, and Wilkinson his third save. So, happy Friday, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything on the channel over the weekend. I may or may not. Haven't decided yet. It would be off the cuff if I did. And it might be a recording versus a live stream. I don't know. I really don't know. I might try to experiment since I've been kind of fiddling around with OBS lately. Did it for the Fall Classic game and for the payoff pitch game. I might try to record a strat game using the OBS and trying to get the little screenshots, not from Action PC, but from the Strat PC. And that way you can see the stats of the players without me having to regurgitate them. I'm going to try that out. I may try that out as a recording just to see how it looks. And if it looks bad, I won't even do it. But anyway. But ID, I look forward. Thank you for sending me those charts. I will certainly print those off on cardstock and get those ready to go. And again, want everybody to have a great weekend. For you Strat-O-Matic nuts out there, it is opening day at Strat-O-Matic for the new releases. So I'm sure people are there in line, waiting with bated breath for the doors to open. And everybody have a great weekend, and I will see you all down the road.